Hello, my beautiful rainbow people. Welcome back to the Potsmoker's Bible. My name is Zion, and I'm the author of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Hebrew Bible. I use the King James Version of the Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered testimony of the various prophets of the Old Testament. It became the Book of Zion, and I found contained within it a set of instructions that I was uniquely qualified to undertake. So I did. And as a final to do, final thing on my to do list to become the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, I am to publish peace without money. So I am reading to you from the Emba Books manuscripts that I've written, the Potsmoker's Bible and the Book of Zion. Today I'm reading to you from the 27th chapter of the Potsmoker's Bible. It contains the 24th and final chapter of the Book of Zion. It's called In the Last Days, and it goes like this. So, we need to do this. We need to create Zion. We need to convince as many Americans in the Midwest as possible to join us in the mountains. We need to create our inner mountain arcs, and we need to do it soon. Because time is ticking. The ground beneath my feet isn't as safe as you might think. It's always better to prepare for the worst than to face it unprepared. Prepare for the worst, expect the best, and hopefully we will get something manageable in between. We don't have forever to save ourselves. So, to be on the safe side, it's time to prepare. Because when time runs out, it'll be too late. Which leads us to Isaiah 2:10, which is Zion 24:20. Enter into the rock and hide you in the dust, for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. Now, on one level, of course, this means rock and roll and drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine. We hide in our music, like Boston says in More Than a Feeling. I hide in my music, forget the day. And we always experience the fear and glory of the threefold God when we do drugs, especially if we go off the deep end with dust like coke and meth. This verse surely fits into this ideal. However, the greater volume of verses like this one points to actual future events that require sheltering in the caves of the mountains or into the rock of our ark. Music and drugs do define the Zionites, but I believe that this is part of the passage of northern destruction, the great northern destruction event, foretold, that requires actual physical sheltering. This event is going to inspire fear in all humans, even those outside the zone of destruction. It will highlight, as nothing else can, the abilities of the aliens to foresee future planetary events, like the much worse firestorm that is also on its way and unavoidable. This factual evidence of the great aliens as the true ancient gods will inspire fear and awe in the human race. No one will logically be able to refute the Gray's claim of familiar relations with humanity. All will know. This will be the proof. Prophecy fulfilled as foretold. So this destruction of the North is proof of the Gray's true nature as gods of humanity. The remaining population of the earth after this foretold destruction will finalize each human's response to the Gray. Those who won't heed the warnings will perish in fear and flame. Those who embrace the truth will know the majesty that is the Gray as God. Which brings us to Isaiah 2:21, Zion 24:21. To go into the clefts of the rocks, and into the top of the ragged rocks, for fear of the Lord, and for the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake terrible the earth. I will personally never fear the grave, but they have promised to always be kind to me. That doesn't mean that others won't fear them. This is unavoidable thanks to the US government and Hollywood. Most people fear the alien ideal. They've been taught to fear what they don't understand at best. And thanks to Hollywood, for many, aliens equate into monsters who are going to take over our world. Now, I know better. On the other hand, me and my Star Trekkie fans and the Star Wars fans are equally anticipating the arrival of the aliens. As in a first contact scenario, we, who aren't afraid of aliens and who don't have false concepts of God, are waiting with bated breath to embrace the awesome event that we call first contact. I and many others look forward to the aliens being present on our world. But their arrival so soon before an event that they themselves foretold will be seen as they're creating the event. And I'm pretty sure many humans will look at it that way. It will seem as if their arrival and moving us into the mountains, and then bam, the aquifer collapses. The earth shakes, but doesn't move out of its orbit. When the shaking stops, the world will be in shock. It will appear as though the gray collapsed the aquifer. So, we will go into the tops of the rocks, the ragged rocks, the Rockies. We will hide in the clefts of the rocks of the Rocky Mountains. We will enter our inner mountain shelter, and soon afterwards, by fate or design, the aquifer will fail. America will be reduced greatly, and the entire planet will feel it, because it will shake the entire planet. And in our mountains, the shaking will be at its worst, because we're going to be so close to the epicenter. I'm not looking forward to that day. Nebraska is my home. I love the wide open expanse of the land. I love the open sky that reveals the heavens at night. Here, you can still find enough darkness to see stars. I love America, believe it or not. I have traveled throughout all of the states, most of them in the continental United States, but definitely all of those that will soon be gone. They're each beautiful in their own way, and the thought of their destruction hurts me. So, many lives will be lost. So much land will be inundated with ocean. There will be very little landmass left in America, what we call the USA, and most of it will belong to Zion. We will save as many as we can. We will provide shelter. That is the reason that we were created in the first place, to save as many lives as possible, and to mourn for all of those that are lost in this soon to occur great northern destruction. Which brings us to Isaiah 10:12. It becomes Zion 24:22. Wherefore it shall come to pass, that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his high looks. Once America has been dealt with, and Jerusalem has been transformed by the intergalactic integration of Judaism and Islam, or i.e. the Palestinian Jewish reuniting in the name of Abraham, having put aside the ancient family feud, when these two Abrahamic states are joined in alliance, what remains of the Middle East will consist of those Islamic peoples who reject the ending of the family feud. This new Middle Eastern non-Jewish alliance of states will resemble Assyria. It will be the next target of prophetic events. Those Islamic states that reject the gray and Israel will be dealt with, and all that comes from that region will find themselves facing the wrath of the gray. I believe this is setting up the event called Armageddon in the Christian mythos. But the point is, events move back to the Middle East once Zion is established. Assyria was the template for our current social order. Our most basic forms of government stem from this region. It was the first true empire, and all others are based on it. So it makes sense to call out the Assyrian kingdom template when a king ruled by his ego, not for the people. The king priests of Assyria are similar to the current Islamic governmental norms. Iran, Iraq, and even Egypt are a part of this ancient empire template. It is this region and political practice that is subject to grace punishment. Zion and Jerusalem will enjoy the prosperity of being gray. Events will move to other regions that violate intergalactic law that will be subject to gray rule. What was once the Assyrian Empire may by then again emerge as a kingdom, but a kingdom as in old times, or just the combined Islamic states in a loose alliance, doing lip service. The gray will end the power base of this region. In other words, oil. These oil will end. Oil is the only thing about that part of the world that would make it the second priority for the gray. By shutting down the use of oil, we will stop adding fuel to the coming fire, stop oil production, and CO2 emissions also, in a large part, is reduced. It won't stop the firestorm, but it will buy us some time. The sooner we stop using oil, the better off our children will be. So Assyrian oil goes. That is the next most urgent requirement for the future of our planet. And that will surely take the smug look off every holier-than-thou Abrahamic nation that who sells us oil and wallows in their wealth, thinking us as infidels. Just as there are good and bad Christians and Jews, there are also good and bad in Islam. Those who reject Ishi as Allah will end up facing his wrath, having become themselves infidels, thus ending their high looks. Nahum 2:13 becomes Zion 24:23. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and I will cut off the prey from the earth, and the voice of the messengers shall no more be heard. Chariots are, of course, the ancient word for cars. The Middle Eastern region, where Assyria once existed, is the main supply of oil, gas, for said cars that jostle in the way, as Isaiah calls it. The use of gasoline for transportation is at the heart of global warming. Our cars have to go. The human animal has become toxic to life on Earth. Humanity sees itself as the superior life form. They somehow equate that to mean that everything else is easy game. Things with no souls that are hewn simply to be our prey, raw materials for our consumption. We kill innocent beings simply because we can. We are toxic. And there I'm going to end for this session. So, may the Gray watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice when we get to Camp Zion. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know I wrote the books. My name is Zion. I am the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the prophet foretold in the Bible. and I love you way too much to ever say goodbye. So I'm going to say later now.